Hey, welcome back. Welcome back to the Virgo Channel. I'm so sorry I'm 5 minutes late. I came from the gym and I thought I would have enough time. And of course, I didn't have enough time. So, my apologies. Thank you for waiting. Now, for those of you that are new to my channel, my name is Laura. I'm going to do a message for Virgo. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. You know the deal. Just interpret the message as it resonates with you. Also, know on this channel and all my channels, I look at everything. And I look at everything because it's not a question of whether your person likes you. A lot of times we know that. We don't know why it looks the way that it does. We don't understand what the whole spiritual significance is, or sometimes we know that the person did not like us, but we found that out after the fact. And we want to know why the universe thought that that person or that situation or that experience, because it's not all the time a person that will teach you a karmic lesson. Sometimes it's just a situation, right? So we want to know why so that we can break the karmic looping. Looping is just, this is the same theme I'm living, just different people and different experiences, sometimes different locations, right? So you want to stop that because over time, if you don't, that's what solidifies a core belief. And then, your habits and your behaviorisms are built on your perceptions of yourself and the world around you. That's why it's really important to be around people that are going to love you, that are going to accept you, that are going to, be cheering for you. And if you find that you never attract that, well, then we want to know why the reason is, because sometimes you're born into a covenant, a negative covenant. See, spirits, we are spirit. That's what we are. We're only in physical form to learn and to manifest. When we die, we go back to source, right? We are the universe. There is no separation from the universe. God's ubiquitous, meaning it is in the universe. It is everywhere. It's the air that we breathe. It's what gives us life, right? Spirit is the same word as breath in Latin, where it's derived from that. We know that. So when we are spiritually blocked, well, it's going to manifest, and it's going to manifest through everything. So understanding why everything happens also allows you to shape shift your situation. If there's many different realities that play it at one time, why would you live a reality that makes you feel bad, that makes you feel not good enough, right? Everything is perception. So the readings obviously have a therapy style to them. Now, I've been starting off every single reading with it's all about you, no one else. And sometimes the messages are good for a day, sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's a few months. I'm not going to lie, but spirit has no time. And what I notice for myself is I'm like, that shit doesn't happen until like 8 months down the line. Now, if you're in a connection with someone that the situation keeps looping, where you're like, yeah, we've been together for like 10 years and this has been going on for 10 years and I'm going to be with this person and it's going to continue. Well, then again, you still can apply the information to break the karmic cycle. Right? Anything of any importance or relevance to the channel, you know where to find it. It's in the description box. Hi, Debbie. Yes, you caught me today. All right, let's see what you need to know. Now, I like to always read these separate, and then I read it all together. So I like to pick 3, and then we're going to pick 3. Right, 3 and 3. And then we're going to pull from this. What you need to look at, just for you. It's all about you. All right. So what popped out of me first, because it flipped over, is the wounds of family origin. And this, it shows up as rooted patterns of feeling of worthiness, fear, or rejection, a need to overperform to feel loved. It may manifest as struggles with boundaries, repeating unhealthy cycles. So it would look like a karmic contract in your relationship. Like, I've been together with this person, but not like connected to this person for a long time. and it hasn't been good for most of it. It's usually what it is. And carrying unresolved emotional burdens, obviously, we know why, and then that aren't really yours to bear. So it's almost like you were born into a family, into a covenant. And that's what I was saying. Like when our parents have a toxic relationship, doesn't mean that they don't love each other. It's that that's the way that it looks. And so when you have two people that try to like change the other person, right? And no one's getting happy. And so when you grow up in that, you're being conditioned. So not it's not all the time what your parent tells you. It's what we see, what we watch. We inherit it. So what this is saying is it's not even yours. Codependency wound. Well, again, that goes back to the relationship. So I'm not going to be redundant there. And alignment block. So needing to address your alignment. So it shows up as feeling out of sync with your true desires. And that's really what codependency is over time when you think about it. It's that you caring more about somebody else's needs than your own to get validation, to get fulfillment. And it feels like love in the beginning because there's this intense like attraction. And that's because there's a spiritual connection. So it's really hard to get past that. Let's face it, in the beginning. It's like because the person feels like your person. And it's like that's the way that it feels. You can feel it in the gut. So you're like, I'm like sure of it, but understand what winds up happening is that over time you lose yourself. And what's missing is there's a lack of direction and purpose. Like, why are you here? So if you were brought up in a family that was codependent, it would look normal for relationships to be on, off. This person's mad. Now this person's mad. The communication is bad. Might be alcoholism and other addictions of avoidance, right? So watching that, where you're watching the one person kind of carry the relationship emotionally, and the other person, it's not like they don't contribute. They do. They're actually like the bones of the relationship. So they probably bring in the money or they bring in the structure somehow. But when the person is half there, they're bringing in half-ass structure. So we see that there's a root chakra imbalance. So the children then become codependent because they're being conditioned in the environment because they can't be children. Be like childlike in the Bible means the children go out and they find themselves. They know what they like, they know what they don't like. Bobby down the block said that my pink bicycle was ugly. I told him to go scratch his ass and that I didn't like his football. And I was confident about it. Yeah, I wasn't afraid to say, and I wasn't cowering down because I didn't learn that from the environment that I grew up in. Because again, codependency, you're not going to see verbalization. You're not going to see that. What you're going to see is passive aggressive behavior. What you're going to see is really nothing, but you're going to feel it, a lot of times, because over time there is no talking. Everyone's just pissed off. So that is why you were born into it, not your cross to bear, not your cross to bear. Again, that you're not codependency, but if you don't know who you are and you haven't invested enough in who you are because you had to be a parent because, hey, there were other things going on, well, and when you were a parent, you again didn't say anything to Bobby down the block because, hey, you were taught not to say anything. Now your habits and your behaviorisms were built on codependency and they weren't built on rooted in self, strong within self. Like, who are you? Who are you? Do you feel worthy about yourself? A lot of times when you're coming from survival, you're not thinking about anything except for survival. Let's face it. You are the boss of your life. Hire, fire, and promote accordingly. Again, codependency. It has to be a certain dynamic, right? And that's pulling in someone that's acts really confident, acts really strong. Remember, if you grew up in codependency, you didn't feel strong within yourself because all your habits and behaviorisms were built on what your family taught you. And for you, in order to get love, you had to overachieve, it said. You had to overgive, overdo to be noticed because, hey, people were preoccupied or that's what it felt like. And the child's self, that's all that it matters. They only get caught up in the emotion. Child's not logically thinking anything. So Spirit's saying it's important who you surround yourself with. You got to be around people that love you, make you feel good. Again, because codependency, usually one person over time, is making another person feel like shit. Because no one would want to stay in a position of that. But you have to believe that you're unworthy of, again, of that. So Spirit's saying it's all up to you. Being your beautiful, authentic self is the greatest contribution to the world. Spirit saying, again, don't dim your light. Notice all this. You see all this? This is Spirit saying it's time for you to step into your true self, your identity, and that people aren't going to like it, but screw them. It's again because, hey, when the codependency is at work, everyone's benefiting except for you. People are utilizing your energy for you, but that keeps you stuck in feeling that you're unworthy, makes you feel like there's something wrong. When meanwhile, that wasn't your cross to bear. You grew up in that environment. That's not what you chose for yourself. That might be what feels right, but Spirit says, hey, this is what it is. Because God says your connection to me is through your purpose, through your soul's purpose. It's how you give and receive of love through your free will. It takes a mustard seed of effort. And Spirit's saying, if you don't know who you are, that's the biggest problem. Take time out and rejuvenate. And you know what? Rejuvenate some more. Meditate on it. It's not about do, rush, because that's codependent behavior too. That's manic behavior. And that might feel right because I have to do something, but I don't really know what to. And Spirit says, don't do my job. Do your job, God says. Be like childlike because you're not in charge of how we get there. And you're not in charge of, again, of the path at all, the timing. You're not in charge of the timing. You're not in charge of how we get there. You're only in charge of saying, hey, this is my dream. This is what I want to become. This is what I want to do. And God says, that's the most important thing, your connection to me. Your connection to me is through what you love, what you're passionate about. Where's your passion? Passion for life keeps you in the highest vibration that there is. Nothing can touch you. Nothing can stop you. Only you can stop you if you're going to be codependent and listen to other people. Get certain people out of your life, Spirit's saying. Meditate on it. It's again because the higher self is the God part of self that gives you the gift of the Holy Spirit. That gives you spiritual sovereignty to create your own heaven on earth, which is why passion and purpose is the most important thing. That's the most important thing. Because, hey, people are going to want to manipulate. Hey, I like you. I find you good looking. Maybe you can give me some of your energy. But, hey, you're dealing with a person that doesn't put in any time, doesn't put in any energy. Do you know that at first? Do you know who that person is at first? No, you don't. So if you're not balanced because you're not rooted in a passion that connects you to source, that will connect you to other people in the world, then emotionally, how are you going to be fulfilled? You won't, and you're out of balance. And codependency is out of balance. So Spirit says, you're going to take time out if you have trouble meditating to listen to music. Music is very therapeutic for you. It transcends your mind. It allows you to really imagine. Spirit says it's okay if that's the way that you need to do it because you're so overstimulated from being in survival mode. Because if you're doing my job, God says you would be in survival mode, because, hey, you don't have eyes in the back of your head. God says, I'm all knowing, I'm ubiquitous. You're not, you're stuck in that perception, again, due to how you grew up. So keep doing my job. You won't get good results. But if you, again, become yourself, then you and I begin to have a relationship. Because only in the now do I give you divine guidance. The path unfolds while you're on it. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, not in charge of how we get there or the timing. Please don't do my job. Do your job. This way, you see you're supported because guess what, Mom and Dad? They were codependent. They didn't really. I only look at intention, God says. They made a wrong turn somewhere. It's again, which is why relationships, what we're going to see, probably have been a struggle for you in the past. And it's not because they didn't love. That's what it looks like. God says again, only I love perfect. They did the best that they could do with what they had to work with, but you have to forgive. Again, a lot of times that's what it is. If you're in this place of, well, my relationships, and it's because of this, was so fucked up the whole time. And Spirit says, yeah, that's the ancestral karma, but you can break that ancestral karma. It's by becoming yourself. It transcends all the limitations of your mind. Your mind is not spiritual. Spiritual means it transcends the limitations of your ego, because the ego is all about keeping you safe. And so codependency is always going to look at things like let's be safe. The glass is half empty. This way we don't, and God says that's already, you're out of alignment with my law. It's again, because it's again, you're abundant. You're me. You have spiritual sovereignty. Codependency is a belief that there's separation from me. So there's fragmentation there. And when there's fragmentation there, you attract negative spirits. And when you attract negative spirits, all of a sudden you begin to start talking negatively. And then you're vowing yourself. And when you have vows, you're going against the Holy Spirit that's inside of you, where God says you're out of alignment. It's like, that's the thing. So you have to get balanced. And that, or maybe you're in the process of doing that, or wanting to know, why does the relationships always look like that? And Spirit says that's the reason why it'll always look like that until you heal. You'll always feel like, well, people, I have to be this way because people are not trustworthy. Again, that's what happens when you haven't created enough of yourself. You're going to have trust issues because that's what you were conditioned in the environment, because no one showed up for you because they were preoccupied. They didn't show up for each other. They didn't show up for themselves. So Spirit says out of alignment, out of alignment, out of alignment. Root chakra imbalance. No connection to the physical body, the physical world, physical elements of the physical world. So money will be out of balance. It doesn't mean that they can't make money, but there's weird issues around money, caring too much about what other people think, and just creating the illusion because there's a feeling of lack inside. So God says out of alignment, there's no separation between you and me. Remember, you're learning. So let's look and see, what does this person think about you? Like, where are they right now? What are they thinking about? I can't stop thinking about you. Obsessive. You're going to see codependent behaviors now, because if you're that way, Spirit saying, hey, you got time. You can break a karmic cycle here, or we can go back into it, or you can try to live another reality with this person. There's many different realities that play out. Which one do you want to pick? But don't pick the one that your parent picked. We don't want that one. And we already found out why that was. Again, when there's not enough of self. I knew exactly what I was doing. Yeah, this person was manipulative. They really thought that they were going to get over. So coming from fear, meaning I want my cake and eat it too. I regret lying to you. Yeah, because I feel like you shut the door. That's what I feel like. I feel like you were like, whatever this is, it's like this imbalance. I'm not. And that's why they can't stop thinking about you, because, hey, you put up a boundary. Which, again, we see codependency. That's not what would happen. You would be rushing, and no matter how much you gave, it wouldn't be enough. So God says, okay, we're passing this test. I know I was a distraction from your pain. That's because this person is like, I saw your worth. You didn't see your worth. It's like, I always saw your worth because I wouldn't have wanted to have a connection to you. But I knew I wasn't giving. So I knew I knew exactly what I was doing. You didn't in the beginning. You didn't know your worth, and codependency would say that. where God says that's you didn't, because that was out of alignment. It's again, and so this person's like, again, if they were to tell you and actually be honest, just being near you is intoxicating, though, because hey, there's this person wanted you, they just didn't want to do what it takes to be with you. And they thought, well, I think that you'll still be with me. You'll be naive enough to think that I'm just with you and just talking to you. But again, we see really low vibration. Now, why is that? Because God says codependency. Well, what does that mean? And God says it's a low vibe. It's like if you don't know your worth and the person's shady, there's only two energies, love and fear. You're both sitting in fear. It's still a low vibration, not because you deserve it, but because you didn't know your worth. And that's what Spirit's saying. It's like, like you were naive. Like this person thought, wow, like you're giving me all this time. You're so sweet. You're so nice. I do what I want. You're accommodating to me. Like you were nice. Most people don't give anything. If they're a player, it's people are opportunists. It's again, what am I going to get? That you were not like that at all. So again, not used to that energy. This person thought that they were going to outsmart you, and that's the issue. They have things to deal with before they can love again. Is their thing. It's like, which means I don't really want to do any healing. What I want to do is I want to stay in a low vibe energy because I'm angry. And I'm angry because of whatever transpired within this person's life. That a lot of times they grew up in codependency, and then they were with, people, and they got the shit end of the stick, and now everyone is paying for it because they don't heal. And as long as a person doesn't heal, they feel that they're justified. So what you see is narcissistic energy here. Like I knew exactly what I was doing. I wanted to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. I always saw your worth. Yeah, but you must have been in pain or something. You must have been preoccupied because, hey, like I really thought I could outsmart you. It's like real asshole energy, like is that. And where the Spirit says, unfortunately, when a person has a lot of trauma, that's what it's going to look like. And if it's someone that has a lot of trauma and they don't heal it, and it first came from their family, how they grew up, it's like, and then they kept repeating the karmic cycle, and so there were consequences for this person. Now, I'm not going to get caught up too much in what this person did or did to you. They just wouldn't give you time. Again, where you felt like you've always felt like there was someone on the back burner. That's the thing. I feel like you're like, well, if you're not talking to me, you're talking to somebody else. And I feel like this person would date people. They don't break up. They just move on to somebody else. And so they have a lot of people that linger. And that makes this person feel like good about themselves because they're vague. They're not, it's not like this person said, I'm going to single you out and hurt you. That's the way that they live. This person had a connection to you, but they I'm not really going to feed that connection because I haven't done any healing and I'm still pissed off and I still don't trust. And I kind of feel like you'll assume, and that's what you got tired of. You got tired of this person assuming that you were just gonna take it, that your niceness was weakness. And that's why this person can't stop thinking about you, because you didn't scream, you didn't yell, you might have said whatever you needed to say, but you didn't manipulate. This person's toxic. They get people to fight for them. They get people. It's again, they don't care. They're angry. And Spirit's saying it's again, they have just way too many love blockages, and for them, they were like, oh, I don't want to really miss my chance to be with you if I can be with you. But to be honest, they haven't given enough at this point. It's like, and that's what they know too. It's like, I didn't really give anything, and if I was going to be with someone like you, well, I'm sure by now, by you cutting that person off, they realize, oh, this person does know their worth. Oh, I guess I can't play the game. And when they look, they're like, well, I really didn't give anything either. So it's, again, they always saw your worth. It's just not what they wanted. And you attracted that person because of those wounds, Spirit says. And really, this is all about your healing. Like, whenever we attract a person like this, that's like, it's that shady, it's all about you. Where Spirit says you didn't know your worth. It's like, when, and be like, I was just trying to treat the person the way that I would like to be treated. But if you weren't treated nice, you're giving the entire buffet away, because you're like, this is what I would want. But that person saying, oh, look at this person coming in with the buffet. I don't have to do anything. I don't even have to bring a fucking fork. The person supplied it all. It's like, and you're like, I was just like, we had a connection. Spirit says, again, no, it doesn't work that way. Yes, you have a connection, but it's that, sometimes the connection is, about your healing. It's not about like a happily ever after. I mean, listen, we see right away disassociation. Hey, there's trauma there because, hey, there wasn't really support, and that's the anchor, right? And we already explained why that was. So it's overwhelming if you're a child and you're like having to make decisions on your own, and you're also like growing up in an environment where there's fighting or there's so much anger. It really does affect children on a psychological level. It's psychic trauma. That's what it is, because you form habits and behaviorisms built on those perceptions. And so it's overwhelmed. I'm not safe. I'm not safe. So already you don't feel safe. But Spirit says, but the child that survives thrives. Because God says, I'm inside of you as a gift of the Holy Spirit. It's like, you have gifts, you have clairvoyancy, you again are intuitive, you have claircognizance again. And the reason why is because I've been inside of you the whole time, guiding you. That's how we got through that. But it was for survival. It wasn't, again, your passion for life. You're not supposed to just use it for survival. You're supposed to utilize it to create whatever it is that you want, your passion, to become yourself. You're not your trauma. You're not the bad experiences. Though that wasn't your cross to bear. You grew up in that. It's, again, love yourself, know your worth. Again, you were born with the inner authority. That's the gut intuition. That's the gift. So Spirit says, you know better. You know better when someone doesn't treat you right, and you feel it in your gut, So you ignored that. God says, I was telling you the whole time, because you have gifts. So you saw it. You're like, no, but I thought maybe again it was misunderstood. Like, I thought that, that they didn't really know how to articulate. And I remember one time I felt that way. So over empathizing, Spirit says, because you weren't balanced. You weren't balanced. So when you're not balanced, you're going to listen more to the emotions and not the higher self. And so you're like, then what happens is you say, I don't trust me. Because then it's like, I'm going to do what I want to do emotionally. And Spirit says, not if you become yourself. Because then a way makes a way out of nothing. A whole life emerges that allows you to see yourself differently, that you would never be codependent, because you'd be setting boundaries before it got to that state. No, I'm sorry, I can't be around. Going to tango lessons tonight. I have to network. It's like, I meet people through everything that I do. Everything that I choose to do, I become myself. I surround myself with people that love me, that are going to support me, that are going to cheer for me, that are going to show me that I can be successful. It's, again, and I'm not going to surround myself with people that make me feel misunderstood, because, again, they think that I don't know my worth, so I can give of myself to the point that there's nothing in return. And Spirit says, now you got it. Because again, that's the whole point. But you also now have to quantum jump into the new reality. It's not, you have to alchemize the energy. You can't just leave it like that. Because God says you're in physical form to learn and to manifest, whereas the end, I got to see a different end, and so do you, in order to fully heal. Because that's how you change the energetic template. Again, and your vibration is what, that template is doing, right? So transformation, we knew, Spirit says that you're not fragmented. Turn fears into strength. You step into your power for profound change, and you become someone else. It's like it's still you, it's just an upgraded level, a new and improved. When they have come out with the new and improved, they're like, isn't that the same thing they came out with that, like a few years back? And it's like, yeah, now it's just better. It's better. It's, again, beyond your soul's calling. This is about becoming yourself, but listening to, why are you here? What is the whole point of why you're here? To be the expression of love, to do what you love, to give and receive of love. God says, I don't care what it is that you do. You have free will. Remember, the path unfolds while you're on it. Again, keep a positive mindset. Spirit says, listen, align your actions with your values. Remember, everything's about character. If you have bad character, it's a no-no. Again, because God is the energy of unconditional love. So all the energies that are derived from unconditional love, forgiveness, compassion, perseverance, all those and more, are your energies that you're allowed to step into to make sure that you're not codependent. Because there is infinite possibilities. But again, I fulfill your promise. God says it's, again, you're not here by mistake, you're here by my design. If you decided to come down here in the physical realm, then you said, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to, when I come down there, I'm going to contribute. And God says, well, how are you going to contribute? And you tell God how you're going to contribute. You're down here to remember what that is. And it's an unfoldment process. So if you're on your path, you get deja vus, but God says you're not in charge of how we get there or what actually you manifest, because your plan is not going to be as good as mine. I'm all knowing. You don't even really know. You're going to pick something that's, it's okay, but you get bored of it because that's how you are. You just pick things and then you get bored of them. Because you're like, well, I learned it and I've already did it. And God says, but if you let me do it, hey, as one door closes, another door opens. So you're going with the flow of life through the passion for life. And I'm the one that's actually driving. You're just the passenger. That you're supposed to be listening to the higher self, which goes back to the beginning where Spirit says, this is about you not being manic, slowing down, meditating. Take time out to rejuvenate. And that might feel wrong. And Spirit says, but the way that you treat yourself is wrong, because then you teach people the way you want to be treated through what you're doing. And that's not, and if you have children, you're going to teach them to do that. And Spirit says, no, that's not the way that it's done. You won't get good results. And then people are perceiving this. You can be vulnerable, which, by the way, you would not be able to be vulnerable if you were with this person at all. And also the way that you grew up. And so Spirit says the only way you're allowed to be vulnerable is by, embracing your authenticity, which is becoming yourself. Again, that's your great contribution to humanity, why you're here, how you're going to transcend that just codependent behavior where, hey, it just feels right. Whereas Spirit says, yeah, because you listen to your emotions and you're seeing what you want to see in the beginning, and then it's too late because you didn't set boundaries. So it's everything. The Spirit's saying. And then that's what makes you think, I'm not, maybe I can't, maybe I just try and be nice or blend in. And Spirit says it's not about either one of those either. It's about being true to yourself, and it begins also with envisioning brighter horizons that have infinite possibilities, that you're like, this is all I can have. And Spirit says, yeah, because that's all that you've lived and that's all you've seen. But again, then you're not embracing your spiritual sovereignty. And if you're not, then God says, you and I don't have a connection, which is why I told you to slow down, rejuvenate, and meditate. Because God says, when you pray, you're talking to me. And when you meditate, I talk to you. Do the Silva Ultramind method. That'll help you get down to the theta level of the mind, which will help you to get to that God consciousness. It's the ESP business one. You can get it on Audible, because again, ESP is that claircognizance, and that claircognizance we all have. That's how we have discernment. The Spirit says, God put itself inside of you to be safe. So when you're putting on your armor of God, that's what you're doing. You're becoming yourself, because you don't have control over the environment. You only have control over yourself. And if you're codependent, that's not a good thing, because it means that you're not strong within yourself. And then you're also connected to someone that's not strong within themselves. And that's why they say that there's a fine line between love and hate. And we end off with one more message, which is goodness, which is overcome your imperfections, polish your character, and feed on the positive. Free yourself. Allow your goodness to manifest and become a source of joy. Through gentleness, you offer unconditional support, understanding, and love to yourself and others. So again, Spirit's saying it's all about you knowing your worth, your goodness, and yes, life is an unfoldment process where we're continuously working on healing ourselves. It never ends. However, Spirit says, know your goodness. Your job is to share it, to again give and receive of love, that unconditional support and love to yourself, because you didn't get it growing up. So it's about reparenting, but also giving it to the world through being vulnerable and being your true self and why you're here. It's again, Spirit says that transcends everything. It's because again, the path unfolds while you're on it. You're not in charge of it. And so being that, you don't have to worry about it. You can just focus on your passion. And you might say, well, I can't do that because I have a job. God says there's a lot of hours in a day. Things might need to get changed around, or you start where you are. You start with what you can do. It takes a mustard seed. God makes that multiply. God says, again, don't do my job. Don't focus on what's missing. Focus on what's there. Like a child thinks about what's there. Oh, there's a garbage can across the street that has a box next to it. Those kids play in that box until it rains. And it didn't rain for like 2 weeks. I mean, imagination. No, it's not going to be perfect. But God says, again, it's temporary. Remember, as one door closes, another door opens. Nothing's meant to stay forever. So everything that's on your path is helping you become strong and helping you trust that relationship that you're supposed to have with God. Then the fruition is that you're seeing it manifest within your outer world experiences. It's the illusions from, again, the environments that you live in and what you're taught. So I'm going to leave that there. You let me know how you resonated. If you did, please give it a like, share your comments, and until next time, be true to yourself, love yourself. I'll be on probably tonight doing another live for you guys. All right. Bye-bye. Bye, Debbie. Love you. And Mr. West Ashley. And everyone else that was on today. Thank you. Bye.